Hello, welcome to Flower Juice, and today we're going to have a little bit of fun because the last time I was in a wholesaler I spotted these little pieces of sponge. So this is actually loofah that's skeletonized and it's been coloured. So I've got a few different colours, there's orange and pink and purple and green, and I just thought they were really fun. And then I was visiting someone and they had this in their cupboard. They just moved into a new house. And they were basically going to be throwing out a lot of things. And I said, I would love to have this because it's so unusual, but it also matches two vases that I already have. So these are really like a pebble vase. And we're not going to use this one today, but we are going to use the other two. So essentially, this is giving us some holes, and the holes are really our mechanic for us to work our flowers into our design. So the first thing we need to do is we need to add some water to our vases. So this type of vase, if you do see them in like a thrift store or a charity shop, they're absolutely brilliant because you don't need a lot of flowers, and because of the small width of the holes, it gives support to the materials that you put in. So you don't necessarily need a lot of flowers. You can make something that is quite cute and quite sweet with very little. So I basically got a few flowers today. So for this one, I'm going to use a little bit of alstroemeria and also a little bit of gypsophila as well. So this was really just from like a little mixed bunch. Now, what we want to do is we want to create a little framework for our designs. So for this one, I'm going to use these medilino sticks. Now, I've done them using a running weave. If you look back through our videos, you can see how to do this. It's quite simple. It's basically a paper covered wire and you're doing regular twists and working it through, but we'll put a link in the video description for the other video so you can have a wee look at how to do that. So we're just going to add our little pieces. Now, I've used these before for a different design, and I think that's really the thing, is when you've got something like this that you've made, you can just reuse it. You don't have to throw things out. You can basically use them and reuse them. It's not a problem. So if you're like me, you've probably got quite a crafty cupboard full of bits. So this is giving us our framework for our design, and we're just going to use our pink loofah bits, and we can just pop them in. So they've got a little bit of a shape that can grip on, which is quite interesting. And I really just want this to be fun. So it doesn't have to be in any way complicated. So we don't need to glue them in because these are holding these really nicely. We just want to show them showing different aspects. So showing it kind of side on is quite interesting. Getting that more with a face on it is quite nice. This is giving the shape with a bit of a twist, and this more from side on. So we're creating like a little sculpture, to be honest. And now we can look at adding our flowers. So for this, as I say, we were going to use the alstroemeria. So I'm just going to take off anything that is dead or damaged. And we need to decide where we're going to put it. So I want that to go down into here. And that is too long, so I think as well we will take off more of this green. So we can just pop that down into there. And with our other one, we'll just use the single flowers. Into there. This one would have been a little bit more difficult to place as that kind of cluster. The other one was better suited as the cluster. I think the little touch of green is quite cute. And what you want is just to think about how things are sitting. So this one's facing backwards. It's giving it depth. And we're not going to waste anything, so we'll just bring this wee bud round the back. And I think we'll take this leaf off. Yeah, I like those little buds. And now all we need to do is think about how we're going to place the gypsophila. So the gypsophila really is just going to give us a little bit of a contrast. And there we go. We've got a really interesting little arrangement. So we've encapsulated space, we've added interest with these little highlights. Now you might decide that you don't want 4, you might only want 3. So we can do different things. We could double this up to make more impact here. So that now it actually looks like 3 placements of the sponge, or you could even remove it and have a little bit less. So you can get different effects. That's actually quite nice. It's just making more of an emphasis onto this area here. So a simple arrangement, but we're really showcasing these beautiful little alstroemeria and giving them a lovely framework for them to sit in and be enjoyed. So not an expensive arrangement to do. Really quite simple. I think we'll just take you off. Actually, you're a little bit dry, so you can just go. So that's our first one. And our next one's going to be similar in the way we're going to do it, but we're going to use slightly different materials. So, This is the thing, when you're making an arrangement, you really can enjoy the process. So don't feel that you have to buy certain things or do certain things. The choice is really up to you to use what you've got, what you can get hold of, what works for you essentially. So don't feel that you have to rush out and buy exactly what I've got here, because to be honest, it becomes very difficult to actually source things that other people have. I think it's easier just to use what you've got and see the potential in what you've got. So let's have a little look at this. I'm just going to thread these on. So there is like 3 holes in each bit of sponge, which is quite cool. And we can make use of those. So this one, the base is quite neutral, but we're going to make a little bit of fun with the colours. So this is really going to be a play on kind of spring colours and just a little bit of fun. I like this as a kind of feature in itself. So with this, we can actually use the container to help bring that down. So there's no right or wrong to how you're doing something or making something. It's entirely up to you. It is just about being creative and doing something that you like or something that you want to make. It is just about having fun. And really that's the thing about creating things with flowers, is if you were to say to yourself, I'm going to make things regularly, then essentially you're giving yourself the opportunity to get creative with materials that are natural and easily available, and you'll really enjoy it. It's a bit like meditation. It's a bit like relaxation. Essentially, because you're concentrating on making something, your mind is not worrying about all those stupid things that clog up our minds on a daily basis, and we over worry about. Now, so he definitely needs to go down there just to hold this. I don't know why I said he. And we can look at just, if we want, bring one or two in to here. I like that. So, again, what we're essentially doing is we're creating space and we're creating a framework. So, for this one, I want to add a contrast. So I'm just going to use this dried grass. So this was from the garden, but this is fun as well, just as it is. But I do have a few tulips. And last week we used tulips as a design, and it was really great. Everyone basically said the tulips are fantastic because they give you something that is easy to buy. So no one should find that there's a problem getting hold of a simple bunch of tulips to have a go. And I thought that was great because you just think, oh, it's just a bunch of tulips. But actually the fact that they're accessible and people can use them is really important. And they're not expensive, so they don't put people off. What I love about the tulips is they'll start to grow in their own way. So this is going to change and become quite interesting as to how it develops. I would really like a tulip to go in here. So just bringing that one back up and then pushing both the cane and the tulip down is allowing me to add that one in. So this is really a play on colour, and it's a play on lines and space. And it, as I said at the beginning, it's just fun. Fun to make, fun to look at, and maybe the type of thing you could do with kids as well. Because getting them to do things with their hands, to be engaged with being creative, is really going to be a good thing for them in their development. Yeah, so I'm looking at this and thinking, what does it need? What's it doing? I think that needs to just come more central. At the moment there, it was just looking a little bit like one arrangement to one side, one at the other. So that is just basically lifting it. So There you go. I hope I've showed you that flower arranging can be fun. You don't need a lot of materials, and we can really make something look quite big with not a lot of actual material. And really, it's simple concepts like line, colour, contrast of texture, and space. If you kind of combine any version of those things, you're going to make something that's really interesting to the eye. So I hope you've enjoyed today's videos. We've got a new video every week. We'd love you to join us for our next design. And please have a look at some of our previous videos as well. As I say, we've got this one that shows how to make this technique, so we'll link to that. And we hope you join us for our next design.